Hey girl, welcome to episode 202 of the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsay Nickel, and today we're talking about something that I think is going to resonate with you as you navigate your eating disorder recovery journey. I'm going to be sharing with you how to get back to the basics, sis. When you are feeling stuck, when you're experiencing a slump, sometimes you need some motivation. Today's episode is going to give you just that, because your recovery isn't one way. It's going to have ups, it's going to have downs, you're going to have moments of progress, you're going to have periods where you simply feel you cannot go another day. But today, I'm going to share with you how reconnecting with your fundamental human needs can provide a gentle but super powerful reset when you need it the most. No complicated protocols, no overwhelming strategies today. We're just going to make it simple. Simple, nurturing practices that honor your body's basic needs. But before we begin, I want to acknowledge that your journey is unique, and what works for you may not work for your neighbor. So the suggestions that I share in today's episode are meant to complement, not to replace any professional treatment. But sis, if you're currently struggling, I want you to know you're not alone. I have been right where you are. And these very basics helped me reach new heights in my recovery. And so I hope today they bless you and they shed some light, no pun intended, on your direction forward. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsay Nickel, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you, because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess trapped in a destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it, so you can start living your best life as your best self. When you're deep in recovery work, it is so easy to get caught up in the complex concepts and strategies. Heck, I even talk about so many strategies and tools that you can leverage as a resource to you right here on the show. But while you're challenging food rules and while you're in the trenches of processing difficult emotions, it can be really hard. And all of that work is valuable and necessary. But sometimes when you're feeling stuck, friend, the most powerful thing that you can do is take a step back and ask yourself, am I meeting my most basic human needs? Eating disorders, they often disconnect us from our bodies, fundamental needs and signals. And part of being in recovery is relearning to recognize and honor what these needs are. And not just around food, but across all dimensions of your well-being. Because if you really think about your why, behind why you want to get better, why do you listen to this show? Why do you want freedom so much in your life? It's so that you can do the things you love, be with the people that you love. It is a holistic approach of being well and being healthy. I want you to think about a plant that's struggling to thrive. Before trying exotic fertilizers or complicated care routines or looking up how to help keep this plant alive, a good gardener checks the basics first. Does it have enough water? Is there adequate sunlight? Is the soil providing proper nutrition? And often addressing these basic needs is enough to help the plant recover to its full vitality. But the same principle applies to you, girl. When you're struggling with the disorder, when you're returning to old patterns and behaviors, when you're catching yourself in your own head with that voice, I want you to take a step back and return to foundational elements that can provide stability and give you renewed energy for the journey that you have ahead. And so how do we do that? Well, here are the basics. One by one, we're going to talk about the fundamental basics, what they are, how they're specifically supporting eating disorder recovery, and what you can do to truly step in to identifying the needs of yours so that you can continue to move along your path. And you can do so with motivation. First is nourishment. Perhaps the most obvious, but the most challenging basic need is regular, adequate nourishment. When you're in a recovery slump, or even in recovery at all, it might be tempting to slip back into restrictive patterns, irregular eating, skipping meals. Maybe you're there right now. This is precisely when recommitting to your plan or putting together a plan of a regular eating schedule becomes the most important. Because I want you to remember that your body needs consistent fuel. I'm going to underscore that word, consistent fuel. Not just to function physically daily, but to support your brain chemistry, to support your emotional regulation, to promote cognitive clarity, all which are essential resources for the recovery work that you're doing. And one approach that can help during a slump is to simplify your meals temporarily. Now, this doesn't mean restricting your meals. It simply means reducing the mental load around food decisions. And this is something that I do with my one-on-one clients. And I also have clients that work with dietitians to do the same. But this is to come up with a simple meal by design, maybe for a week or two, with foods that feel manageable for you and that you know provide adequate nutrition, so that you're not having to think about thinking, right? So that you're not having to think about what to eat next or when to eat it. It's sort of on autopilot, except it's nourishment versus going to that autopilot of restricting or leaving things out or back down that nasty, windy path that you know isn't good for you. I want you to remember that nourishment isn't just about calories or about nutrients. It's also about reconnecting you with food as a source of pleasure and a source of comfort and a source of connection. And when you're facing these tough periods, I want you to think about how you can incorporate one food daily that brings you joy, that's balanced. Or how can you share a meal with someone that you care about? Number 2 of our foundational needs, and back to the basics, is hydration. I want to talk about water, sis, because dehydration is surprisingly common among those with eating disorders. It can actually worsen your mood. It can give you these even slower energy levels. It is going to disrupt your cognitive function and your physical well-being if you're not hydrated. And even mild dehydration is going to contribute to fatigue, to headaches, to difficulty concentrating, none of which make recovery for you right now any easier. Sometimes what feels like a recovery slump might actually be influenced by outside circumstances. It could be by dehydration. And the simplest approach is to keep water visible and accessible throughout your day. A water bottle that you can refill at specific times. I know I'm obsessed with my Stanley right now, but I want you to find it useful to you and come up with a simple but tangible reminder for yourself, especially if drinking water isn't yet something that you constantly do. Beyond just drinking plain water, let's say you have that one in the bag. Hydration can come through herbal teas. It can come through infused waters with fruits. When I was in recovery, I actually loved doing like strawberry and blueberry water. I know it sounds a little weird. I would put lemons and strawberries and blueberries. This was a way for me to get additional nutrients. Perhaps start integrating foods that have high water content, like many fruits and many vegetables. But the act of preparing a special tea or an infused water can also become a small act of self-care. And this is going to give you love for yourself and compassion for yourself. And it's going to be something that can bring you back to your roots and can help you move forward as you navigate recovery. Number 3, if I could rank these, I feel like number 3 is probably like the top one, and that is sleep. And then number 4 is going to tie into sleep. Okay, so adequate sleep is a non-negotiable. It is a non-negotiable. During sleep, your body repairs tissues, it balances your hormones, and it processes emotions and experiences that you have been through during the day. And many people with an eating disorder, including myself in the past, struggle with insomnia or disrupted sleep patterns. And this creates a challenging cycle where lack of sleep makes recovery even harder. You're already running on E, right? And so if you're not getting enough sleep, it makes it even harder. Prioritizing your sleep can make a tremendous difference. This includes consistent sleep and wake times, creating a restful environment, limiting your screen time, and developing a pre-calming sleep routine. Next on the list that ties into sleep, but isn't the same as sleep, is rest. Rest goes beyond sleep. It means incorporating periods of genuine rest throughout your day. These are times when you're not productive, times where you're not achieving, times where you're not even working on recovery, but simply being. I know this sounds difficult. If you're a high achiever, if you're a perfectionist, if you're here listening to the show, like me, rest is simply really hard to grant yourself. This might look like a quiet cup of tea, looking out the window, a gentle walk, or maybe even 10 minutes of just lying down on your yoga mat and noticing your breath. Says if you've struggled for a long time with disordered eating patterns, true rest can truly feel uncomfortable or even give you a lot of anxiety. And so I want you to start with small periods of rest and gradually extend as you build tolerance. This is an essential human need. Rest is exactly what you need to thrive in your recovery so that you can get better sleep. Your worth is not measured in your productivity. Refreshment and renewal are imperative to be productive in the first place. It's important that you get yourself rest. Number 5 is movement. The relationship with movement can be complicated if you're navigating recovery. For me, I had to remove all exercise because that exercise for me was constant compensation. However, gentle and intuitive movement where you're disconnected from your weight, where you're disconnected from appearance or measuring yourself in the mirror, or where you're no longer working out to burn calories, this can be profoundly supportive for you. This is where I started integrating yoga as a regular practice and learning how to get movement back into my life without it being focused on a high intensity workout. But the key is finding forms of movement that feel nourishing rather than depleting. I want you to think about a form of movement that is like gentle stretching or a slow walk or Tai Chi, or maybe that's swimming for you. Movement that allows you to just do something with your body and enjoy that experience, not measuring that experience. Movement that happens outdoors, it often gives us dual benefits. And this ties in to our next fundamental, which is nature, because the exposure to nature has been shown to reduce stress hormones and improve your mood. So speaking of nature, spending time outside, I just love it. I always feel like God talks to me outside with my turtles and all the things, but when you're in the sunlight, you're supporting vitamin D production. You're regulating your circadian rhythm for better sleep. And this often provides a valuable change in perspective for you. Actually, this is where I would say I get most of my podcast content, if I'm being quite honest. It's literally spending time outside in the morning sunlight, which is regulating my body's internal clock. It's improving my mood. It's giving me that motivation. And if you're experiencing a recovery slump, I want you to try setting an intention to step outside for a few minutes every day. I want you to notice the temperature on your skin, the sounds that you're hearing around you, the colors and the shapes that you're seeing. This is a simple grounding practice, and it gets into your sensory experience and it allows you to be present in the moment, which is super, super beneficial when you are creating tools and resources for recovery for yourself. It is incredible what nature can do. Number 7 is human connection. Sis, I won't say it over and over again on the show, but eating disorders thrive in isolation. And while recovery is the opposite, it actually flourishes with connection. So when you're in the doldrums, you might feel the urge to withdraw from other people. This is precisely when connection is critical and super important. Connection doesn't have to be intensive. It doesn't have to be demanding. It doesn't have to be going to Panera for lunch with a friend. It could be texting somebody that you've confided in, or somebody that is a supportive guiding hand in your life. Maybe it's a short phone call or sitting in a coffee shop where you can just feel the presence of other people, even if you're by yourself. It might be attending a support group or reaching out to somebody that is in your treatment team. For me, I love when clients reach out to me because we are working one-on-one on actionable things that they can do week after week to help them in recovery. And you can literally be texting me and we are building that connection, giving you that motivation, and it really helps flourish you. Remember that authentic connection means being honest about your struggles. And you don't have to pretend to be doing great all the time. You don't have to create this false view that this isn't hard. This is one of the hardest things you're probably going to have to navigate. But sharing that you're having a hard time, it often deepens that connection and it even opens more doors for you. And lastly, I want to share with you stress reduction and regulation. This is a core fundamental. Okay, stress actually increases during recovery slumps, making everything feel more difficult for you. But if you look at simple stress reduction practices, like things that are going to help calm your nervous system, making you more receptive to nourishment, more receptive to rest, and even connection, this is where your power lies, friend. So deep breathing is one of the most accessible tools that costs nothing. Taking slow, full breaths that extend all the way to your lower belly for even just 1 to 2 minutes, it can literally shift your physiological stance from fight or flight to rest and digest. Other simple regulatory practices include placing your hand on your heart, or sometimes I would do this and putting it on my tummy, and speaking kindly to myself. Splash some cool water on your face, or even just sit with your own self, count backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is going to help provide some clarity, some woosah. But when these basics are in place, you're going to find even more resources to face the deeper psychological work of recovery. So I want you to listen back to this episode if you didn't get all the details on the fundamental basics. But here's a quick summary. Number 1 is nourishment. Number 2 is hydration. 3 is sleep, 4 is rest, 5 is movement, 6 is nature, 7 is human connection, and 8 is stress reduction. So how do you put this into practice when you're feeling stuck? Here is a simple approach. I want you to first assess where you are. We're not going to do this with judgment. We're going to do this without judgment. I want you to notice which basic needs might be getting neglected right now. Are you staying hydrated? Are you really honestly trying to move your nourishment up to the next level? Are you finding time for rest? Or is this the biggest one where you are finding no time for rest because you feel like it means that you're lazy? Are you getting that natural light in? Are you going outside and breathing in the fresh air? Are you maintaining connections? Are you creating connections? Are you feeling super isolated? I want you to start small. Choose just 1 or 2 of what we talked about today. Maybe that's starting with hydration or going outside in the morning sunlight. These are entry points, friend, that are going to do so much. And I want you to create some of these simple daily rituals rather than setting this ambitious goal where you're constantly moving that bar up and up on yourself. I want you to think about what are some of these things that are going to really ground me in my basic needs. Maybe that's placing a glass of water by your bed so that you can drink it first thing in the morning, or setting your alarm 5 minutes early. Instead of going for a brisk run, you just go outside and breathe in the fresh air. What could that look like for a consistent bedtime ritual for you, or planning connection for somebody that you're going to outreach to the next day? And then I want you to gently notice this. Notice how attending to some of these basic needs affects your mood, affects your energy, and your recovery motivation. And what I love to do in my journey was write in my notebook all of these things. Like, what were the patterns that I noticed over time that worked for me? And lastly, I want you to be compassionate. Remember, sis, that when you're attending to your basic needs, it isn't always easy and it's not going to happen overnight. You might have days where you struggle to literally survive and get out of bed, and that is normal. That doesn't mean you're failing. That just means that there's a new opportunity tomorrow for you to return to the basics. It's important to acknowledge that sometimes recovery slumps indicate that you might just need additional support. So if you're looking for additional support, I would love to work with you, to chat with you. Spring is the perfect time to rejuvenate and to create anew. You can go on out to herbestself.co, fill out a client application right there on the website, and we can connect and we can see if we're a great fit to work together. But as we wrap up today's episode, I just want to remind you that you are powerful. You are so powerful. Like Leonardo da Vinci said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Recovery isn't about becoming a different person, sis. It's about reclaiming the person you were always meant to be. There's profound wisdom in recognizing that sometimes the most healing thing that you can do is not to push harder or to set more ambitious goals, but to tend gently to your most basic needs. Adequate nourishment, hydration, rest, sleep, movement, connection, nature, and stress reduction. These aren't just pleasant additions to recovery. They're the foundation upon which sustainable health and healing is built. So by honoring these needs, you're not taking a detour. You're strengthening your foundation. I invite you to choose just one or two of these basic needs to attend to today and notice how it feels to direct kindness and care to yourself and your well-being. I hope you know as well that you are worthy of all the love and all the care. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you found this helpful, would you share it with someone that you love or someone that might benefit? Until next time, be gentle with yourself as you navigate the ups and downs. And I'll talk to you soon, girl. Bye for now. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.